Navidita, are you ready for your presentation? So I'm gonna make you a host so you can share your screen. So while she's waiting to share her screen, Navidita will be presenting on the epistemological turn in desertification, a case study of India.
Now you can see my screen.
Yes, perfect. Thank
Yeah,
you.
this is Nivedita Singh, and my pronoun is she, her, they, and I am fellow at London. And so this is I'm a fellow Royal Asiatic Society at London, fellow at Royal Anthropological Institute, London. So epistemological turn and desertification case study of India. So this is just my initiation of my research or starting point of my study area. So the what's the desertification? We as a normal human being consider it. So desertification means it's a last process. The process starts from the land degradation, and the land degradation and the quality of land started losing its fertility of the soil, and then we come towards the second stage, degradation of land, and then we come towards the desertification. So this is a long process, and we as a geographer or as a budding social scientist, we always consider that desertification is I would say scientific process, or it's a kind of a more of epimistic a natural science study, but it is not. There's an involvement of other stakeholder as well. So I would say that there's a stakeholder involvement, human being as a cultural, social process, political process is also there. So why we political process in terms of it institute policy, lack of policies and institutions there to recognize that this desertification is going and it would be catastrophic to the incoming generation. That's the point that we are dealing with it. So the per se the main definition that what I have understood it, the process through which productive lands turns into a desert is known as desertification, and has historically been viewed as a from the any point of view, from scientific point of view, or from a I would say a human geographer perspective also. I would also include that point. Approach from a variety of angle. So I just in my starting of my presentation, I said to you, there's a form of slow land degradation. It's a kind of, I would say, slow death of a land. In my words, slow death of a land, and known as the desertifications. And it occurs when human activity and natural processes combine. It is not a natural process. I would say it is also the involvement of a two combination. So it is a combination, human addition, physical process, which leads to the desertification as a landscape. So I would give this term desertification is a broader landscape. It is not a, I would say, a one process or a one incident has given reproduced this thing. Lot of things has given. So causes of desertification. So I'm just giving the background of my study and just giving a foundation of my study, and then I would come towards my the area. So deforestation and over exploitation of natural resources. So when we are as I come so at in educate of agriculture practices. So in the agriculture practices, we can see there's a usage of fertilizers, manures, chemical fertilizers and manures is very high rate. So that leads to the degradation of a land, and the fertility of soil becomes, I would say, it's very less fertility is there. That's the point. That is the one factor which is the leading factor. So when we are going towards or shifting towards organic farming, and this So it is not a process. In this whole of stakeholder is involved. When the government would provide the subsidy to the organic farming, then there would be more kind of a system which is more inclusive for the organic farming. So then it would be more less repercussions of in on the desertification. So then there's a over irrigation, over usage of fertilizer that I have told about you, urbanization. So we are trillion economy, and we are the fourth largest economy of our country, and we are becoming a very urbanized. So that's the one, or is also one of the factors. Urbanization is the landscape of climate change, as I can experience, it's my experience, that we are having the climate change impact on the weather, and then the weather, the scorching of heat and all those things would be going to impact on the land. So there's a kind of a chain system is there. So, consequence of desertification. So there's a loss of biodiversity, food insecurity, loss of forest cover, and there's also, when I was saying that losing of fertility, upper layer of soil, there's also kind of a loss of aquifers. So that water table of underground is becoming very low, so it would also going to impact on the land, disturbing the cultural landscape. So yeah, I would give one example. Is the one of state in our country where the people are reluctant to get marrying their girl over that village. Why? That's the reasons are that there's a water is not there in that particular village. So women has to fetch the water miles and miles away. So that's the burden would be going to have on the girl. So that's the whole scenario is that, and which would lead to a so that's the I what that's why I said to you, disturbing the cultural landscape. It is also impacting on the culture and social fabric. Desertification is not a, I would say, natural phenomena, or it is impacting on the nature. It is also going to impact on the social culture and the political fabric of our system, and loss of aquifers that I have discussed with you. So, at my research area is epistemological turn and desertification. There's a kind of shift from traditional to the modern, that we are shifting, that finding our system. But I would say the shifting of knowledge is also important to combine and mix blend with them modern knowledge. So that would be more reliable and more inclusive. That's what I think about it. So, overview of the epistemological shift in research on desertification. So, I'm a geographer. So, we analyze from GIS system and remote sensing that we identify the potential area is going to be degraded and which area has been degraded. So, we are analyzing our research from our remote sensing data sets, and that data set would be very good for us to make, or I would say, or draft a policy for the desertification. So make the shift from limited and strictly scientific methods to comprehensive integrating viewpoints. So mapping, monitoring of a desertified area. So I just said to you that GIS and remote sensing would play a very crucial role in identifying the degraded land, and how we can have this land has a potential. So one more thing, that GIS is not a thing that it can also identify which land has the potential to improve the productivity and capacity of land. So yeah, improvement can also work in that GIS. So the epimistic transition from the perspective of pure natural science to that integrated policy studies, economics, and social science. So when I said to you that there is a when I was just doing a research in my perspective, from my perspective of geography, so I just found that community based approach do a a remarkable job in the combating the desertification. So, what I community based approach in that we can do is a participatory based approach in the village areas. So, where we can have a system, a watershed management approach. Under this, we can do a lot of things we can include it. So, I would say tree station. So, in tree station approach, how we can do it? There would be a tree station like a petrol pump where we are going to refill our petrols. So in the here in tree station, it would be a kind of a clinic. So in the clinic, we are going to have a ask the remedies about that how my tree is working or not. That would be a kind of a relation. So that building a tree station would be a one that I have in my mind, and that would be a more kind of uh, closely knit and community based. So in you are creating awareness. Secondly, you are providing them aid and assistance that how you can. Tree station doesn't mean that they are would be curing a tree. They would be also caretaking of the land, soil, what everything. So that would be that you are going to the doctor and asking them that how my land would be more productive, more I would say flourishable. So you are going to ask the questions about your land, and then you would be giving them query according to the problem. It would be not a simple assertion or simple answer that you would be going to provide it. That's what I think about it. So this kind of tree station or community based approach in the villages or in the area remote areas would be more effective, and it needs to be implemented through, I would say, polycentric approach. It would be not a kind of a monocentric approach that we are implementing it. So polycentric is more of people centric, and you are doing a local governance. So it's a kind of a mixed thing. Lot of things are there, lot of stakeholders, lot of efforts need to be required for a community based approach. And community based approach, I would say, would also cater the needs of the people and cater the basic needs. So that's the indigenous, and it would also provide the indigenous solutions that you, and the plus that the solution which you have given to the your provider facilitator who is taking care of your community thing. There's a kind of a blended solution would be there. So yeah, so community empowerment and active engagement in the development, implementation, and the management of a land degradation, prevention and reversal methods are the key components of a community-based strategy to combat desertification. This strategy make use of regional expertise, customs, and assets to guarantee that interventions are successful, resilient, and appropriate for the local culture. So then key central benefits, or you can say key. So utilization of local knowledge, participatory in decision making, and capacity building and sustainable livelihood. So I'm just wrapping up my thing. So this is the case study of India, that the most affected areas of desertification are the some states, which is Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Gujarat and Maharashtra. So I'll come to the policy, and I have to rush it out. These are the policy that we have just implemented in our country to combat the desertification. So innovative policies and suggestions to combat desertification would be adoption of watershed management, increasing the role of local governance, adoption of social fencing, agroforestry, traditional water harvesting, and springshed management, and implementing the indigenous knowledge in which the area is affected by the desertification. Participatory land management, crop rotation, terracing, focus on social aspect, windbreaks, using of technology and science. So this would be my policy and suggestions. Yeah, I'm done with my presentation.
All right, thank you so much. We would have loved to ask questions, but we don't have much time. But in any case, one of the comments that I would have is for us, for you to, in the presentations like this, is very important to have references. Some of the sources or some of the statistics that were quoted in the work needs to be properly cited or attributed um to the authors or the bodies. So maybe you just want to put in a reference. Maybe if you want to follow like the APA format or the formats, it's very, very important to have every fact referenced. So just note that for future purposes. Thank you very much for your time. Wonderful presentation.